Okay, so here's something really amazing. I have a friend, Dr. Tauber. He kind of trains therapists around the world. In fact, I heard this also from one of the top, I guess, therapists in America, part of a group, Chabad on call, like Chabad, if you want to call it, chaplains. And make a long story short, what they say is that when a person has something traumatic happen to them, so that event goes into what we call the amygdala. I don't know exactly where it is, but somewhere there's a part in the brain that deals with emotions. Now, obviously, a trauma is something very emotional. And what happens is that you get an emotional response to it, which is usually, let me run away from this. And now you may, just to give you an example, imagine, God forbid, I don't know, a person gets a burn. And so the fire may go off, but it may cause a blister and may continuously cause pain. Somehow it didn't get healed. So a person may get a trauma, and then what happens in the trauma is that they feel this pain, or maybe fear, and it just stays there. And so the goal is to get over that fear, obviously. Now, when a person just says what happened to them, because when they experience the emotion, I don't know, God forbid, let's say a person was driving and they suddenly get hit by a car. So there's a fear that that could happen again because it was random. And so usually that's the things that traumatize us, something random, something that we didn't expect. You weren't processing it. So maybe that can happen again. So we have this fear. So in order to overcome it, a person should literally just say what happened to them. And I've been dealing with this one trauma that happened to me a long time ago, and I've used a million different techniques. And I almost feel like this technique, I finally got it right, just worked. And that is that literally just say what happened to you. And because I did that, and scientifically, what happens, you can actually see this in an MRI scan, is that when you speak, because animals can't speak, they could just feel, but we humans, we're the only mammals that have a prefrontal lobe, and that's where we process information and speech. And so you take that event and you take it out of your amygdala nuclei region and you put it into your prefrontal lobe just through the words of saying the event. You have to remember the event and say what happened, because then the brain will automatically process what happened. If you don't do that, it gets stuck. It's like that burn. You got burnt and that's it. But if you do that, it's like the, I don't know, antibiotic cream, or your immune system sent your, good white blood cells and you heal it. And it's really kind of that simple. Just to add one other thing that occurred to me, because I decided why not do that for everything. I asked myself, what are all my traumas? And it's interesting, some of the things I noticed were things that then I was able to reprogram. Okay, this thing happened. Let's say it was a loss of somebody or something very dear to me and unexpected and caused a certain trauma in some way. So then you can just reprogram it in a better way. So, for example, to me, as I thought about this, big trauma was Gimel Tammuz, the passing of the Rebbe, and I said to myself, no, the Rebbe actually didn't pass. The Rebbe is godliness, and godliness doesn't pass. Godliness is continuous. In fact, it's just there to help us grow, and he's here with us just like he was before. My perception of the Rebbe before was actually limited. Now my perception is much greater, and soon Mashiach will come and he'll be revealed, and Mashiach will, and a whole new perception of reality comes. And when you can do that, you can heal yourself and reprogram. And one last thing that occurred to me was sometimes maybe, and this is very interesting, I once met this vet and he had all these buttons on his hat, and I realized, anyway, so I wanted to be nice to him. So I spoke to him, and he said that he was, I asked him why he has it. So he says, because his therapist told him to help him overcome his trauma. So I said something to make him feel better, like, it wasn't your fault or this and that. So he said to me something profound. He says, I'm not traumatized by what happened to me. I'm traumatized by what I did. In other words, when times of war, people can do things. Even in times of trauma, we can do things that we would never do otherwise. People are by nature kind, but when they get stressed and they go crazy. And so even things that maybe I did, which I look back and I wish I didn't do, I was able to say, okay, well, this is how I'm going to fix it. So this is very, very powerful. Ask yourself, what are my traumas? Say what it is, see if that heals it. And do you need to heal it in a different way? Do you need to spin it what the positive is, or how you're going to rectify this? So if this video, if you do the exercise and it helps you, please forward it, because if we could help people overcome trauma, that would be pretty cool.